Hey there, deep divers. Ever started a small project that spiraled into something massive?
Ah, the classic renovation snowball effect.
It happens to the best of us.
Turns out it's not just us regular folks.
Today, we're diving into the world of mega projects. Think skyscrapers, high-speed rail, the Olympics, those massive endeavors that reshape our world.
And guess what? They have a surprising tendency to go hilariously and often tragically wrong.
It's true.
In his book, How Big Things Get Done, Bent Flivjorg reveals that mega projects routinely go over budget, miss deadlines, and sometimes even get scrapped entirely.
So what's the deal? Why are we so bad at building big things?
More importantly, what can we learn from these epic fails even if we're not planning to, build the next Panama Canal?
Well, one of the first things Fleyberg points out is something he calls the commitment fallacy.
It's that all too familiar urge to just get started, to dive right in without proper planning.
Oh, I know that feeling.
We'll figure it out as we go. Famous last words.
Exactly. And Flivjorg uses the Pentagon as a prime example.
During World War II, they needed a new headquarters, fast. They picked a site, drew up plans in 3 days, got it approved. Talk about a bias for action.
But I'm guessing that speed came with a price tag.
Big time.
Turns out, the chosen site was a marshy floodplain, a terrible location for a massive building.
Plus, the Pentagon shape, while iconic, actually made construction more complex and expensive.
Oh, that's classic. They were so focused on getting it done quickly that they overlooked some pretty basic but crucial considerations.
It's like starting that kitchen renovation without realizing the plumbing is from the Stone Age, or that the minor electrical work you need is actually a complete rewiring job.
Ouch. And just like that, our budget goes out the window. It's like Flivjorg's anecdote about the couple who found mold in crumbling infrastructure behind their kitchen walls.
It's amazing how often simple projects morph into money pits.
It's not just about things going wrong unexpectedly.
Flivjorg also highlights how our own brains work against us.
Optimism bias makes us underestimate costs and timelines because we're wired to focus on the best-case scenario.
We're naturally sunny about these things.
To a fault. And to make matters worse, there's often strategic misrepresentation at play.
Those involved in the project might downplay risks or inflate benefits to get it approved.
Okay, that's just not playing fair. Is there any real-world example of this, or is it more of a behind-closed-doors kind of thing?
Oh, it's very real. Look at the California high-speed rail project.
Initially presented as a $33 billion dream connecting Los Angeles and San Francisco, it's now projected to cost over $100 billion for a partially completed line.
Ouch. Talk about a budget blowout.
And all because of overly optimistic projections and, let's be honest, maybe some political maneuvering as well.
You hit the nail on the head. So what does this all mean for you? Should you just abandon any ambitious goals, whether it's that kitchen remodel or a career change?
Don't leave us hanging.
There has to be a way to beat the odds.
There is.
Thankfully, Five Picks doesn't just highlight the problems. He offers practical solutions.
Strategies we can all use, whether we're building a pre-house or planning a company merger. Okay, so we've identified the problem. Our brains are practically wired for project failure, and sometimes there are forces working against us even when we're trying to be careful.
But you mentioned that Flivjorg offers solutions to this mega project madness.
Tell me more.
He does. One of the most powerful strategies he presents is the idea of thinking from right to left.
Right to left, that sounds counterintuitive.
It might seem that way at first, but it's really about flipping the typical planning process on its head.
Instead of starting with the solution, you begin with the ultimate goal.
Instead of saying, we need a new bridge, you ask, what are we actually trying to achieve by connecting these 2 points?
Oh, I see. It's about understanding the why behind the what.
Exactly. And that subtle shift can unlock a world of possibilities.
Maybe a bridge isn't the best solution.
Perhaps a tunnel, a ferry service, or even something completely different better serves the ultimate goal.
That's really interesting.
Can you give me an example of where this right-to-left thinking really made a difference?
Flivjorg talks about a project where the initial plan was to build a bridge to an island to provide essential services like water and electricity.
However, by thinking from right to left, they realized it would be more efficient and cost-effective to simply install those services on the island itself, eliminating the need for a bridge altogether.
Wow, that's amazing. They avoided a massive, expensive project by simply reframing the problem.
I could see how this approach could be a game changer, even for smaller projects.
Absolutely.
Let's say you're thinking about that kitchen remodel again.
Instead of jumping into cabinet choices and countertop materials, start by asking yourself, what do I really want my home life to look and feel like?
Okay, so maybe it's less about stainless steel appliances and more about creating a space where my family actually wants to hang out and spend time together.
Exactly. You might realize that a more open floor plan is the real solution, which could involve more than just a simple kitchen upgrade.
Thinking from right to left helps you identify the core issue you're trying to address, which might lead you to a completely different and ultimately better solution.
It's about keeping the big picture in mind, right?
Not getting bogged down in the nitty-gritty details before you've even figured out if you're on the right track.
Exactly. And this leads us to another strategy Flyvierg emphasizes, the power of experi.
Experi, this sounds very official. Break it down for me. It's a Latin word that beautifully captures the essence of this strategy because it means both experience and experimentation.
Flyvierg argues that to avoid project pitfalls, we need to learn from our past mistakes and actively test our ideas before we fully commit.
So it's a two-pronged approach. Wisdom from experience coupled with a healthy dose of, let's try this out and see what happens. Precisely. He gives the example of Pixar.
They have a meticulous process of storyboarding, creating mock-ups, and gathering constant feedback throughout their film development process.
They're constantly testing and iterating, identifying and addressing problems early on when they're much easier and cheaper to fix.
That makes a lot of sense. Imagine getting to the final stages of a massive, expensive project, only to realize you need to rework a fundamental element. Talk about a nightmare.
It's a much better strategy to catch those issues during the planning and development phases, and that's where Experi comes in.
Okay, so we've talked about thinking right to left and embracing the power of Experi.
What other strategies does Flyvjerg offer to help us navigate the treacherous terrain of project management?
There's got to be more.
There is. And this one might be a little surprising. He introduces the Lego principle.
The Lego principle? Intriguing. You've piqued my curiosity. Tell me everything.
It's about leveraging the power of modularity, breaking down large, complex projects into smaller, repeatable components, just like building with Lego bricks.
Okay, I'm starting to see where this is going. So instead of trying to tackle a huge project all at once, you break it down into smaller, more manageable chunks.
You got it. And this approach comes with several advantages. First, it reduces risk.
By testing and refining each individual module, you can avoid a single point of failure impacting the entire project.
It's like that old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Makes sense. What else does this Lego principle have going for it?
Well, it also allows for faster learning and improvement.
By repeating the process of building and refining each module, you gain valuable experience and can apply those lessons to future iterations. Think about how much faster you learn a new skill when you break it down into smaller steps. That's modularity in action.
So it's like practicing scales on the piano. Each repetition makes you a little bit better.
Exactly. And finally, modularity unlocks incredible scalability. Once you have a well-designed and tested module, you can easily replicate it to create larger and more complex systems. Okay, I'm sold on the Lego principle, but I need some real-world examples to fully grasp how this works in practice. Give me something concrete.
Think about server farms. They're easily scalable by simply adding more servers, each server acting as a standardized module. Or consider modern wind farms, which have evolved from small standalone turbines to massive arrays, all thanks to modular design.
I've never thought of wind farms as Lego constructions before, but it makes perfect sense.
Each turbine is like a brick, and you can assemble them in different configurations depending on the landscape and the desired energy output. Precisely. And then there's Planet Labs, a company revolutionizing space exploration using tiny mass-produced satellites called doves.
These mini Lego bricks are designed to be launched into orbit in flocks, gathering valuable data at a fraction of the cost of traditional one-off satellite missions like the James Webb Telescope. That's incredible. Who knew Lego bricks could hold the key to unlocking innovation in everything from tech infrastructure to space exploration? But how do we apply this Lego principle in our everyday lives?
I'm not building a wind farm anytime soon, and my Lego building days are, sadly, behind me. It's about identifying the building blocks in your work or any project you're undertaking.
Ask yourself, what are the Lego bricks of my world? What are the core, repeatable components that, once mastered, can be combined and recombined to create something amazing?
So instead of looking at the project as a whole, I should break it down into smaller, more manageable chunks and think about how those pieces can be standardized and refined.
Exactly. By adopting a modular mindset, you'll unlock new levels of efficiency, reduce risk, and open up a world of creative possibilities.
This is all great stuff.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. Avoiding the commitment fallacy, thinking from right to left, embracing the power of Xperi, and even incorporating Lego principles into our project plans.
But earlier, you touched on something else that really caught my attention. The unexpected benefits that can emerge from the chaos of complex projects.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. You mentioned earlier about unexpected benefits that can emerge from complex projects.
Oh, right.
Is there a way to plan for these happy accidents? Or is it just pure chance? Well, you can't really plan for them. But Fleibjerg talks about a concept called the hiding hand,
Okay.
which suggests that while mega projects often come with, unforeseen costs, they can also lead to unexpected benefits.
So it's like stumbling upon a hidden treasure while you're digging a ditch.
Yeah, it can be like that. He actually uses the example of Jimi Hendrix's Electric Lady Studios.
Oh, okay.
It was initially meant to be a simple nightclub remodel.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks to the vision of Hendrix's sound engineer, Eddie Kramer, it evolved into this legendary recording studio.
Right. And I think a lot of people don't realize that was never the initial intention.
No, not at all.
It just kind of became this incredible space.
Exactly. It's a classic example of the hiding hand at work. However, and this is crucial, Fleibjerg cautions against using the hiding hand as an excuse for poor planning.
Right. Because for every Electric Lady Studios, there are probably dozens of projects that just become expensive flops.
Unfortunately, that's true. Like the Sydney Opera House.
Yes.
While an architectural marvel, is a prime example of a project plagued by cost overruns, delays, and immense pressure on the architect. It ultimately took a toll on everyone involved, despite the eventual iconic outcome.
So it's a delicate balance. You want to be open to unexpected opportunities, but also not lose sight of the original goals and the well-being of the people involved.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another crucial point that Fleibjerg emphasizes: the importance of the human element in project success.
Right.
It's not just about the bricks and mortar, but also the people doing the building.
Makes total sense. When you're dealing with complex projects, especially with lots of moving parts and different stakeholders, having a strong, aligned team is essential.
He highlights Heathrow Airport's Terminal 5 as a great example of this.
Okay.
They managed to deliver this massive project on time and on budget, largely due to their focus on managing risks, aligning everyone's incentives, and fostering a shared sense of purpose among the team.
So they created a culture where everyone felt like they were part of something bigger, all working towards a common goal.
Exactly. They encourage people to see themselves as part of Team Terminal 5, shedding, individual company affiliations and embracing this shared identity. This fostered a collaborative environment that really contributed to the project's success.
That's inspiring. It really highlights how powerful a shared purpose and strong team dynamics can be when it comes to tackling ambitious projects. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of megaprojects, what are the key takeaways you want our listeners to remember?
I think the most important lesson is that the principles of successful project management are universal. Whether you're building a skyscraper or planning a family vacation, the same principles apply.
Yeah.
Careful planning, a clear understanding of your goals, a willingness to learn from experience, and the ability to build strong, aligned teams.
And let's not forget the Lego principle.
Right.
It's a powerful reminder that breaking down large, complex tasks into smaller, more manageable modules can unlock efficiency, reduce risk, and pave the way for incredible innovation.
Absolutely. As we navigate an era of unprecedented challenges and ambitious goals, from addressing climate change to exploring new frontiers, these principles become even more crucial. Learning from the successes and failures of megaprojects can provide valuable insights to help us build a better future.
What will you build differently, knowing what you know now? That's something to ponder as we resurface from this deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep building.